that you're watching. Richard Tice, thank you. 817-888-0607. This is so that we can mark you as present. I'm assuming all these people are members. I don't actually know. Richard's the one I question the most. No, I'm kidding, Richard. We'll start right at 7 for the sake of getting through everything and getting people out before Winter Storm 2022 takes over everything. Don and Sandy Godwin, glad you're watching. Debbie Sal. Is Terry with you, Debbie? Is it just you, or she's going to text me in a second and tell me that. Grateful for those and the capability. Todd Leader, thank you very much for getting us up and running. Justin, thank you for getting us sound so that those who are unable to make it are able to join us and still be part. It's just delayed? Okay. Sherry Stein and Flip Stein. Sherry, we're praying for you to get healed real quick. I know you've been fighting this cold for a long time, and I'm really sorry. Don and Sandy, we're still praying for Zoe, believing for a touch. Amy's watching, Amy Froelich. She also didn't want to ride with her husband. Marty and Angela Froelich are watching. I don't know what to think. I don't know if I should make jokes about this or if I should just let it ride. Yeah. That's what they say. It's not us. It's the other people that drive like maniacs. I'm sorry? Oh, that's because of that accident. They can't have another lawsuit. They can't have another lawsuit. That's why they shut all those down already. I chuckled yesterday. Forgive me for all of my Texans, but I chuckled yesterday when Dallas shut down school Thursday and Friday when it was still 73 degrees outside. And I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. I grew up in Indiana. We had to get like a foot of snow at like 5:30 in the morning. And then it was only just delayed till 10. We were still going in. We just weren't going in till 10 o'clock. It does make me laugh. Yeah, our kids today, they're like, yeah, okay, so if you're old enough to remember having to get up and watch the TV or listen to the radio to see if your school was listed, and if you had to go to the bathroom and you missed it, or they went to commercial break in the alphabetical order right before yours, it was the worst because you had to wait for it to never mind. I need to stop. All right, it's 7 o'clock. Let me pray. Lord, you are good. You are so good, and we love you. I thank you, Lord, that we have the opportunity to meet tonight and share about the stewardship of the resources of this incredible localized body of Christ. Lord, we know we are just one small part of your incredible kingdom. And I am constantly amazed that you would choose to use me and this incredible staff, this incredible council, to lead this church. Lord, we want to be faithful with the little, whatever little is, faithful with little in resources, faithful with little in finances, faithful with little in opportunity. And as we are, Lord, you have increased your trust in us, and we have been made ruler over much. I am so amazed at all that you have allowed us to do. And Lord, I pray that we would be faithful in the things that we're doing right now, and that you would continue to trust us to minister to your people, to love those that we have opportunity to come in contact with, to pray for, to care for, and to communicate the precious love of Jesus. Lord, tonight as we go through stewardship reports, as we go through conversations about our future, Lord, I pray that there would be an excitement, an anticipation, and a joy about all that's happening. And Lord, that we would celebrate your incredible blessing in 2021. In your name I pray, Jesus. Amen. Again, let me just say for those who are watching online, if you could text us that you're watching, that would be great. It's 817-888-0607. Also, that's what you're going to need to text if you have questions about anything that we're talking about. We will do our best to answer all the questions. Save your questions for the end of each thing. So as we go through the finances, if you have questions about the finances, save it. We will come to it. I'll do my best to answer it. But we'll start with the finances of 2021. So if you are watching online, they should be presenting this report. And if you are in-house, you have this right here. This is what we're looking at. And I'm just going to read through this. You're able to obviously read through it, and I'll give some explanation to the things where I can. 2020 ended. You'll see where it says general fund in the top left. It ended with a negative $5,674. So when we started 2021, that was what was in or not in the checking account. And our income for 2021, and let me stress, when I say income, I'm referring to general tithes and offerings. This is not any of the designated accounts. We'll talk about that in a minute. Our income was $457,626, and our expenses for the year were $419,320. We transferred $6,000, and we did that in the middle of the year to cover the negative carryover from 2020. So we finished 2021, praise the Lord, in our general checking account with $38,631. And I just want to say thank you for all who were faithful in giving in 2021. And I don't know of a year since I've been the pastor where we finished in the positive anywhere near that. And so what an incredible praise report. Mind you, all while still navigating Southlake and the incredible outreaches. I mean, it's been an incredible year. So in the left hand box, you see all of the designated accounts. So it says children's ministry, youth ministry, VBS. So the numbers that you see where it says ending, I want to be very clear. This was on 12/31/21. This is not where these accounts are necessarily today. This is where they were when we ended the year going into 2022. So children's ministry had $800 in there, 818. I'm going to use round numbers because you're watching this. So please, I know that I'm using round numbers. It'll just save us time. Youth ministry had $14,000. The PPP fund is at $27,800. For those who are wondering why it's called that, we were given a PPP loan in 2021. That loan has been forgiven for anybody who's wondering. If you run businesses and you know what I'm referencing. And it's going to be my recommendation to the council when we meet in February to actually just move that into contingency and remove that language of PPP fund. But that is where that designated account came from. The $6,000 that I referenced that we transferred came from that. That's what that money was for, which is why we moved it to cover our negative carryover from 2020. Other designated was at zero. Our family camp fund was at $2,400. Women's ministry had $12. Men's ministry had $0. Benevolence was at $1,210. Contingency, which is our real long word for savings, was at $30,500. Return of the tithe was at $14,400. For those who are unfamiliar with Foursquare procedure and policy, we tithe of our general tithes and offerings to Foursquare. So we give 10% of all of the income that comes in to general. So if you give on a Sunday morning or through the week online and it's for general tithes and offerings, we give 10% of that to Foursquare. A number of years ago, I don't remember how long ago, maybe 8 years ago, Foursquare made the decision to start returning a portion of that money to the local church to use in 3 specific areas: discipleship, leadership and development, and evangelism. And so we now get back 40% of that. So twice a year, in April and in October, we will get a check for 40% of what we gave, assuming we're in good standing with Foursquare, which we are in. So what remains in that designated account is $14,400 at the end of the year. Crown Financial is a financial ministry helping people steward their resources. It had $87 in there. Youth Mission had $148. Adult Mission had $4,100, and Vehicle Benevolence has $3,000. For those wondering, we had actually a couple of times, we've had people donate to help people in need, specifically for vehicles, single moms that need a car or repairs, and so that's what was in there. So all of those accounts are designated accounts, which means if you give on a Sunday morning, the money doesn't go there. The money you give on a Sunday morning goes to the general, which was the general fund that I read at the beginning. So if you decide you want to help the youth ministry, when you give money to youth ministry, it goes into that designated account, which means as the senior pastor, I can't spend it on whatever I want to spend it on. I can only spend that money on youth ministry. And I'm being facetious about me. As an organization, any money that's designated must be spent in those areas because it's how you directed those resources. Our building fund, so when we sold Southlake at the end of March, we cleared $2,552,931. Praise the Lord. Since then, we have spent $756,763. Here's an account of that money. $500,000 was to purchase this building. So right off the top, we bought this property for $500,000. $200,000 has gone to our general contractor, and we will give a building update when we get going. But $200,000 has gone there. We had $56,000 go towards replacing the air conditioning units. All of the ACs had to be replaced in the building. And then roughly $36,000 went for the video, audio, lighting upgrades that we did. For those who are watching, you are most grateful at the moment for that investment. And so what we have left is $1,760,243. That is also a designated account. So anybody wondering, that money can only be spent on property. It can't be spent on salaries or the electric bill. It has to be spent on property. So that is the account. That is the account of those dollars that have been given to the church through general or designated. So on the right, at the top, you see the balance of accounts. When we closed the year, we had $38,631 in our general account. We had $30,522 in our contingency and $71,100 in all of the designated accounts. So that's how we finished the year in 2021. If you want to look at a little bit of the story, you'll see the outgoing charitable giving. No, go back, sorry. The second box here underneath the Foursquare icons, we gave $22,000. Now, this is not from general giving. So this is in addition to what we brought in on a Sunday morning. We gave $22,685 to families in need. Praise the Lord. We gave $36,736 to missions or spent on missions trips. Our guest and pass-through, which consists of honorariums, it consists of we had somebody donate a large sum of money to help Samuel go to his father or his mother's funeral. Pastor appreciation, that all goes through guest and pass-through. It was $14,640. Our tithe was $45,851. That's how much we gave last year from our general. And then our outreach includes the events on the property. It includes the Thanksgiving outreach, the Christmas outreach. It includes, what else would I lump in there? Those are the big ones. We spent $33,530. So a total there, we spent $153,442. That's pretty awesome. I've been in a lot of churches. I know big churches that don't spend that much money on outreach. What an incredible honor. And again, we are being made rulers over much. That's how you see it. It's in that kind of a... Crystal, you okay? All right, I just didn't know if you needed something. Sorry. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Thank you, honey. Our expense summary, our staff expenses, that's everything, taxes, salaries. We have eye and dental. We spent $258,000. Our admin, that's all the office technology, was $26,500. Our buildings and grounds, that's the mortgage, the utilities. We don't have a mortgage on this property, but we did on South Lake, was $67,600. And then our giving and ministry expenses was $182,447. So the bottom there, our total expenses, everything that we spent, outreach, designated, mortgage, salaries, we spent $534,902. Our total income, including what we started the year with, was $675,155. So we cleared the year in all of our accounts, not except the building, in all of our accounts with $140,253, which for those who've been on council for a long time, Ron and Paul, you've been here longer than I've been here, you know that's an incredible praise report. And we give God just wonderful praise because he's faithful. So I'll stop there. Any questions about that? That was a lot of information. And if anybody needs to text in questions, you're certainly welcome to do that. I have the text open. You need to text the number that you signed in to be watching. Locally in the building, are there any questions? Okay. If I get any questions, I will answer them. The next slide, this is just a visual of, in January, our expenses were more than our income. So you can kind of see February was the same. March, it flipped. Our income was more than our expenses. April, May, our income was more than expenses. June and July, our expenses were more than our income. August, September, October, November, and December, our income was more than our expenses, and we give God praise. So that's just a quick visual. So if there's no more questions about that, and let me see if I got any on the text. I don't at this point. Again, I will, as they come in, I believe I'm delayed for them. I don't know how long I'm delayed, but I believe I'm delayed for them. It's 7 seconds. It's the beep, just in case. No, I'm kidding. For those of you who get the FCC joke. We have our budget for, some of you just got it. It was the 7-second delay for you too. Our 2022 budget is the next piece of paper and the next slide that you'll get. This is broken up into 2 different slides. So your page has the full thing, but this slide only goes to the staff expense. So the first column, 2021, is what we spent on South Lake. In the first half of this, we didn't spend any money. You'll see it at the bottom. 2021 is what we actually spent. So if you care about the actual dollar amounts and what we spent in food supplies, we spent $6,602. So what is that? Well, that's Graceful Thanksgiving. That's the snacks that we give the kids on Sunday mornings. That's communion expenses. That's coffee and donuts. Yeah. So we spent $6,602 on food. We spent $1,313 on children's ministry. By the way, we spent a lot more than that on children's ministry. That's just out of general account. So from Sunday morning giving, that's what we spent on children's ministry. Yeah, I wanted to make sure everybody knows. Pam just says, "How much money can I spend, Pastor Ben?" That's how, and her foot goes down just like that. No, it doesn't. It doesn't work like that. Child care and background checks, we spent $172. For those wondering why that is such a low number, the answer is in really we've had no child reasons for child care. We used to do a lot of child care. We haven't needed it for the events that we're doing. And background checks are done every 3 years. So because much of our church leadership has been in place for so long, we'll every third year have a big expense. And then, as people join the church and begin serving in different areas, and we need to do background checks. But that's the reason why that's a low number. Also, camp will do some of the background checks because you have to have background checks to go to camp. And so we can put them into that designated account. So it's just kind of where you put them. Music ministry, vacation Bible school, family fun night, and family camp. There was no money spent from general, but I think we probably spent $2,500 on VBS. We spent $20,000 on family camp. Like, it's designated. People give, and then it's a pass-through. So this is just the general expenses. Community outreach, $2,000. Volunteer of the month, $388. So our general ministry expenses from general, I want to keep saying that because I don't want anybody to think we didn't spend money, because we spent a bunch of money. It just wasn't from general. $10,512. Our staff expenses, pastoral staff, we spent $241,964. Retired ministers, $2,700. Retirement was $45.87. By the way, that's just a percentage. It's not a dollar amount that's given. If we're positive in a month, there's a percentage that's given. If we're negative, it's not given. And so that's what that number is based on. Convention and fall conference, staff appreciation was $1,000. Convention and fall conference, we didn't spend anything. It was taken from another account, a non-general fund account. Payroll and taxes were $3,000. Licensing was $975. That's so that I can do your weddings and funerals, right? These are the ministerial credentials for those who are on staff. And then benefits are the eye and the dental, and then the honorariums. So we spent a total of $258,198 on all those. Our admin expenses, which is where we get to the next slide. Postage was $700. Again, I'm just going to rip through these. You guys can read them. Office supplies, $2,000. Printing was $1,000. Flowers, gifts, and books was about $1,800. Printing was $300. Expense reimbursement was $5,412. Our Stripe fees, which is all of the online giving, that's what that account is for, was $2,633. And I'll just pause for a second. If you give online and you give with your debit card or your checking account, I'm asking, you don't have to do anything. If you give with your debit card or your checking account, it's a total fee of 25 cents. Okay, if you do it from your checking account, a transfer, it's 25 cents. If you give from your debit card or credit card, it's 2 point something. It's almost 3%. So that's what that is, just so everybody's aware on what those expenses are. And then membership and tax was $433. That's for like CCLI, so that we can present things. Yeah. Rory. Okay. So Paul and Rory are the guys you need to talk to. This is Paul here, if you don't know Paul, and Rory. Our technology, phone and internet, was $5,000. Our licensing was $600. Our cloud services was $1,500. AV was $94. Computer was $2,200. Support contracts was $1,300. Streaming services we're not paying for. We use YouTube and it's free, which is why we use YouTube. But we used to pay for that, which is why there's an account there. And then copy expenses, that's the rental of the copy machine. And then what we pay was $2,300 there. And then you get to South Lake in our facilities. That's where we spent money in South Lake. Our mortgage, we spent almost $13,000 last year there. Our electric bill between the two campuses was almost $8,000. Water was almost $4,000. Gas was $4,000. By the way, we have a 1,000-gallon propane tank back there, and it is expensive to fill that thing up. And on weeks like this, we go through it. So that's what that is. That's what the gas is. Insurance, $11,744. Security, $850. Landscaping, $4,500. Trash was $1,300. Pest control, $750. Cleaning, $10,200. Repairs and maintenance, $3,400. And then major repairs, $6,200. So we spent a total of $67,665. That was our actual. Our actual total budget was $421,059. That's what we estimated we would spend in 2021. Rory, you missed it by $1,000. I can't believe 14 months in advance you missed it by $1,000. No, I'm kidding. Actually, that's really incredible. Yeah, Wally. So Wally asked the question, and it's a really good question. We are on a well for water. We are a septic tank for sewer and propane for gas. Right out front, we have all those things. But if we run those to this building, then we have to bring this entire building up to code. And so we are running those things to the new building, but at this point, we're not intending to run them to this building just because we believe those expenses would be vast. And we want to build the building. So they are closed. We could do it, but if we didn't have to bring it up to code, and I don't even know what's out of code. We bought the building as it is, but that's the reason why at this point it's not. We don't have those things running to it. So our 2022 budget, I'm only going to highlight the things that we adjusted for the sake of time. In general ministries, we lowered benevolence from general to $1,200 because we have families right now that are giving as designated to benevolence. And so rather than pulling it from general, we're utilizing those resources. For staff expense, you see an additional $24,555. None of the staff got raises this year. That's so that we can hire a full-time youth pastor. That's the difference between what we were paying and what we're moving to. It's not that the council didn't want to give raises, by the way. I want to be real clear. I am not throwing the council under the bus. We did this budget in October, and if you go back to, Justin, can you go back to the slide that had the monthly giving? We did this budget in October, and in October, I think we were positive maybe $3,000 on the year. I have to go back and look. And it was November and December that put us $38,000 into the black. And so we were making decisions based on what we had. The council committed in October that they would evaluate the 1st of April if they wanted to give a bonus because they couldn't do raises at the time. And so I never want to throw our council under the bus. They are very generous, and we just want to be good stewards. And so, but the difference in salary there for pastoral staff is not raises. It's so that we can move to full-time youth pastor. Retired minister support. This person asked for us not to give it to him anymore. And so that's why it's not in there anymore. Those funds, that $3,600 was moved to supporting the Godwins on the mission field. So Don and Sandy Godwin that attend our church and are missionaries to Mexico, we did not just absorb that $3,600 back into the budget. We moved it to support our missionaries. So the senior pastor retirement, I already told you that's just a percentage. So we are budgeting more money for this year. We're planning on receiving what we received this year. So that's why there's an increase in budget. Taxes is also based on that. Moving down, phone and internet, the reason why it went up $600 is because our Spectrum intro deal ended, and that's just what they're charging us. Copyright licenses, $50. It's pretty minimal. insurance policies. It went up the $7,000 because that's what we are estimating it will cost for our construction insurance. And so we want to build that into the budget. And then landscaping went up because it just went up, and the others are $12 and $50. So our total budget for 2021 is $453,180. If you're wondering, just for the sake of answering the question in advance, this year we brought in $457,622. So we are still, if we have the exact same income, at a plus 5,000 on the year. That's with a full-time youth pastor salary. And I was asked the question earlier, so I will answer it now. That full-time youth pastor salary actually backs up to January, so it's a full salary for the year, even though we're not paying a full-time youth pastor salary at the moment. So any questions about the budget? How about from my online people? Oh, I got a good stewardship. Way to go, Sandy. Thank you. Any questions about the budget? We give a lot of detail, so for those who are curious, maybe you want to ask something? Nobody? Okay. Then we will stop talking about money, even though that's what this meeting is about. Before I move off of the money, let me again say, you're here, which means I assume you give. Not many people come to the business meeting if they don't give. Thank you. There's a lot of people that are unable to be here tonight because of the weather. I hope you believe through the reports that we just gave that our council and staff really do the best we can to be good stewards of the resources that we're given. And I believe the Lord is blessing it, and you see it from the jeans thing. I mean, I think the cheapest pair of pants I saw in there was $40-something. And I'm telling you, we had somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 pairs of pants. The Lord trusted us to not misuse this. He trusted us to be able to bless those, and he continues to do things like that. We really do want to do the best that we can to be a good steward. So, all right, I will move on then to youth pastor in the agenda. By the way, again, anybody online, if you have questions, text it in, 817-888-0607. For our youth pastor, here's what I will tell you. We don't have one. We are working to find one. I have talked to a number of people already from my contacts and resources. What do you want, youth? What? She said no. I asked her. Well, text her and tell her that you want her to come. I'll give you her number. Okay. We are actively looking. I have reached out to my contacts around the country. We've asked people as far north as Montana, as far west as California, not very far east. I don't know why, just not. And of course, locally. For those in our church, I have not approached anybody in our church intentionally. Not that I don't want you. I don't want anybody to feel pressure from me. So if anybody in the church is interested, I've just said, come and talk to me. I'm happy to have a conversation. But I don't want to approach Rory, and I'm going to use Rory because he's already on staff, and say, Rory, would you like to consider being the youth pastor? Because there becomes a hint of you get the job because the pastor is approaching you. And I don't want to do that because we are going through the process. I've done an interview with one couple, and the way that our process works is I will do an interview if I like them and it's somebody that I want to work with because I have to want to work with them. And I feel like they would be a good addition to the team. Then I will present them to a committee that I will put together, a personnel committee that's made up of council and members of the church that will then do an interview. And then based on that, I will circle back and either extend an offer or not extend an offer. And so people suggest people in the church, and my response is tell them to come talk to me. If they're interested, I'm fine with considering people in the church, going to them to ask them because I don't want to give the impression it's theirs, and then there's hurt feelings when or if they don't get it. So at this moment, there is one couple that we're talking to. We will bring them out at some point to meet the church, not to present them, but so that they can interact with the church family and present them to the personnel committee. I believe they're watching tonight. I told them we would be doing this. They know that the job isn't theirs at this point. They are one of the couples that we would consider. But I encourage them to watch tonight, to hear about our stewardship, to hear about what's happening at the church. And so if you have names of people you want me to consider, send them to me. I am open to interviewing anybody. Like I'll interview anybody. I don't know that they're going to get it, but I'll interview anybody and see where we're at. So we are ready to hire today if we have the right person. It is a full-time salary, as best as we can come up with a full-time salary. And the hope is that our youth pastor is going to get connected at Fossil. It is really important to me that they will make effort to get involved at Fossil. We have an open door there through friends in Joanna Hildebrand, and to what extent that she can do it. We also have been asked by the Student Standing Strong organization if we would lead the Student Standing Strong at Fossil. And so that would happen through an Elijah, an Aubrey, a Ben, who would welcome us onto the campus. We can't force that, but we can help to lead it once asked by students. And so I want our youth pastor to be involved at the campus. That is make entrance into. We have an incredible entrance into the elementary school. I spent an hour there 2 days ago with the principal and praying with her and talking about the struggles that they have. And at this point, we don't have entrance into the junior high or the high school. And our next youth pastor needs to make efforts to be able to do that. And when I say that, to be real clear, David was part-time. He wasn't able to do that because he was working 2-3 different jobs. So in no way am I throwing David under the bus. Anybody watching needs to know, or anybody present, David did a great job. David and Kara were awesome. This is not, that comment has nothing to do with what they did. This has to do with where we're going from here. And I also want to say, I had this conversation with David and Kara. We are not moving to a full-time youth pastor because we like somebody better than we like David and Kara. We just didn't have the ability to pay them full-time. That just changed. And so in no way is the fact that they were part-time placing a value on what we thought of them. It's just where we were at when we hired them and where we're at today. It literally just changed. I know Flip and Sherry are watching. I don't know if Kara or David are watching. I know Debbie Sal is watching. We love David and Kara, and I want to be real clear. They did a great job. So any comments I'm making about our future has nothing to do with our past. And I walked that delicate line for a long time with Eric, and I fell over myself apologizing because I didn't want anybody to think I was saying anything negative about Eric as we were moving to the future. I don't want to do that for the next 6 months with our youth ministry. David and Kara did a great job. I love them. They are great friends. So anything I say about the future of youth, not in any way a comment about the past. So any questions about youth pastor? Any of my youth have questions about youth pastor? No. I didn't even know we didn't have a youth pastor, man. Okay. I put van on there because I wanted the church to know that we just bought a church van, and we were able to pay cash for it. That's so awesome. It's a 2014 12-passenger van. It's got 70,000+ miles on it, so pretty low miles for a 2014. And Paul is making sure that everything's road safe. But we have a church van now, which is awesome. I'm so glad. So for youth pastor, I think we need to have 2 or 3 vans. But I'm grateful to have one van. And it really does help with doing events for youth ministry. Okay, building update. Oh, well, I guess any questions about the van? I can't imagine there are. It's a Ford, if you care. 12 passengers. Do up. It's in really good shape. And to the couple that sold it to us, who I happen to know are watching, thank you for your graciousness. And I know that that money is going to help you in your next thing. All right, let's talk about the building. We are building a building, and it's awesome, and I'm glad. I don't know, what's the first slide? Because I don't have this slide presentation. Okay, so the first slide is we're building a building. Grace Community Church, you should know that logo. TD Construction is the construction company that we're using. I have been given permission now to tell you who it is. If you don't know who it is David McCracken right here. He is our general contractor. When we were going through the process, I did not want to announce who he was because I didn't want there to be any extra or added pressure. And now I will say you are not allowed to ask him questions about the building on Sundays. You can ask him questions about the building any other day of the week, but on Sundays he's here to worship. He's not here to work. And so please keep your building questions to other days of the week. I'll give you a cell phone number if you want it. You can call him anytime you want. Yeah, right. But I now that we're moving forward and everything's been decided, it really is okay to announce who it is. For those who are wondering, and maybe you aren't, David, I got David's name actually through my brother-in-law, and we did all of the bids like we were supposed to do, and David came and he met with the. Was it just you and me? That first meeting was just me and Rory? Yeah, so he came, and it happened to be before we were doing a church meal that week. And I said, hey, listen, man, why don't you come to church on Sunday and just see the flow of why we need this building. Come see what the church looks like so you can visualize everything that's going on. And I had no idea they were looking for a church. I think he's missed like one Sunday since then. And so they did not get the job because they started coming to the church. They got the job because they gave us the best bid. And it was the most detailed bid of all the bids that we got. And it was actually the best bid as far as the lowest. And he didn't have the other bids. But David, I'm happy for you to have this. So far, I haven't had to ask you to leave church. So, all right, the next slide is, here's what we've done so far. We have done the preliminary building plan, which I'll show you in just a few minutes. The location of the building has been decided. It's going to be in the back of the property. The floor plan has had a number of renditions. It's currently in its final stages. The pre-development meeting with the city of Fort Worth took place a couple of weeks ago. The architect has and is working through all of the city requirements. The civil engineer has performed surveys and is working on the drainage, which is, if you know our property, that's actually the biggest issue we have property-wise, is taking care of the drainage issues. And then the first stage of trees have been cleared over here, and we'll have some more that we'll clear later. Next slide. This is the site plan. So maybe we should turn the house lights off. Can we do that? That will help them be able to see all of the switches on the right there. So I hope that helps you see. I don't know if it does or it doesn't. This side over here is Thompson Road. So it's the main street. The grass that's there at the front is still going to be there. And then we start getting into our parking. We are going to take out the only grass in the center section to create more parking. And then you see there's parking all along the side of our property. Then you have the initial building where we're currently sitting. And then while I know it's hard to read, the wavy line indicates where the playground's going to go, that we're moving from South Lake. If you don't remember, part of the negotiation was we get to keep the playground. We just have to go get it. However, we can't go get it. We couldn't go get it till we know where it was going. Now that we know where it's going, we can't go get it till the building's built because all of the construction vehicles are going to be there, and we don't want to mess up our playground. Then the new structure of the building, which we'll get into in just a minute. Above the wavy line between there and the parking spaces is going to be an outdoor area for us to have fire pits and hangout, and it's going to be actually a really cool addition. I am really excited about that as being part of our building project. And then we'll have fire lanes around the back, and you'll be able to drive around if needed. We are going to add an entrance as well. If you see in the top there, right now we just have one entrance and exit. We're going to add a second one as part of the property adjustments. And so let's go to the next slide. Again, save your questions. We'll give all the opportunities. So this is the building, although it's turned the wrong way in this visual. Go back a slide real quick. So you see how the L is like this. That's the way it's going to be when we build it. You can go to the next slide. So the office wing, which is on this slide, the bottom, is going to be towards the tree line in the school, just to kind of give you an idea. And what you have here are the offices and restrooms, the main restrooms. That's all that's down there. The big wide open space is where we're intending to feed people and do ministry. It's our gathering area. Remember, we're not building a sanctuary. We're building a place where we can serve the community, where we can love the community, where we can have big church events and hang out. And then over here, the top group of boxes are a single restroom, men's, single restroom women's, or maybe they're unisex. It's irrelevant. But they will have showers in them. And the purpose of the showers is so we can be a shelter if we need to be a shelter. You cannot be a shelter without a shower. And obviously, you can't house 100 people with 2 showers. But at least it's something, if it's one night or it's 2 nights. And specifically thinking about when we lost power in February. And we were housing people at the church in Southlake. We couldn't house people here because we didn't have showers. And so we want to be able to love our community and serve our community if the need comes. The group of boxes right below it is our kitchen. We are putting in a real kitchen. We do a lot of food. We do a lot of meals. It's going to be a very nice kitchen. And then the room to the left is either going to be a youth room or a kids classroom, and we share like we do now with this space. It's yet to be determined what it will actually be. Everything needs to be multi-purpose. We want to be able to do what's best. And so I don't know if it will be a device or not. One of the real cool things, I'll do my pointer like I did a few weeks ago, making Justice very nervous at home. You should have been here. You could have told me no. This right here is a garage door that's all glass that will roll up so that you can have it feel like the inside is also part of the outside. And I think it's just a wonderful addition to the design of this building, and will allow us to just have significant in and out and be able to see our kids playing and hanging out while we're doing Graceful Thanksgiving, or the youth are doing an outdoor thing. Whatever it is, it will make for just a wonderful opportunity to go out into the outdoor area. Okay, turn the lights back on for me. So questions about the building. I'll answer the only question I got so far. When will the new building be finished? I have no idea. When the architect was here on the 13th and we had the meeting with the city, what we're hoping, let me back up. Hoping is different than what we're estimating. What we're estimating is January or February. Is that still about right?
I think I missed. I was over here.
When they think it will be done? That was the question.
When will the entire building, everything be complete?
Yeah. Are we still estimating January or February?
We're still a year away from our hopes, so that would be next January, February.
Yeah. My hope was Graceful Thanksgiving, that we would open that building with our Graceful Thanksgiving meal. Really, the big hiccups are getting through the city's red tape and then getting the physical building here. Once we order the building, it's a 6-month lead time because of all the supply chain stuff, which for the adults in the room, you know what I'm referencing. And we can't order the building until the city signs off. As much as I want to just go order the building right now. If the city messes with us, we can't spend that money twice. And so we are waiting for the city to sign off. As soon as the city signs off, we're putting the purchase order in. And then it really just depends on how long it takes to get the building here. Once the building gets here, what was the estimated time? 6 months from when it gets here. So just to give you an idea, we think the city will sign off on everything maybe by the 1st of March or middle of March. So then we place the order, you have 4 to 6 months, and then you have 6 months to get it all finished. So I don't want to, I'm not promising anything, and neither is David, and I'm not pressuring David. I want it done right. I don't want it done quick. So as soon as it can get done, it's going to get done. No, Justice, you cannot call dibs on the corner office. You've been on staff the least amount of times. You have no preference. In fact, I will find the supply closet. You will be where the temp was in the office, my friend. No, I'm kidding. All right, questions about the building? Oh, come on, no questions? You can't ask questions. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead, Rory.
That's why he was distracted.
Yeah.
Tim, I said, what was the cause of all the different renditions that have been made?
The cause for all of the different renditions is Rory. No, it's actually me. As we go through things and I process what's going to make the most sense. You can go back to the building. One of the things that changed was where the restrooms are at and how the restrooms are placed. And so every time we make a change, that takes a little bit of time to get it done. We changed twice, and this is me. I am owning this. Twice we have flipped where the kitchen and the single restrooms are going to be with that building. Again, just trying to make what's the most sense for the use of the purposes of the space. And so where we've landed is I don't see it changing very much from here. However, if the Lord tells me something, I'm not afraid to share it. We're not to the place yet where it's going to affect us. It's not costing us more money. It's not even costing us more time right now because we're waiting on stuff from the city. Where the building was, how the building was shaped. In the last meeting, I realized if you go back to one more slide to the site plan, the new structure was basically up against the existing structure, and that back wall has no glass on it, and we were going to put the playground behind it. And I said, guys, we're not doing that. I got to be able to see our kids. It's not okay. And it's just an oversight. It wasn't that anybody was being malicious or anything like that. It's just an oversight. And so when we realized that, okay, now it's another move. We got to move this back, and where's the playground going to go? And so just as we talk about things and as we navigate these things, we're learning, okay, maybe this would be better here, or maybe this would be better there. And while their question was really directed at me to tell you I can't make up my mind on things, those things that are being moved are really what is for the best of the church. Justice just said, I have more seniority than the youth pastor. Yeah, you do. We'll let the... Yeah, right. Aubrey, you have a question? Yes. Yes. Okay, so her question, for those who are online, it's a very good question. Since the offices are going to be in the new building, what are these spaces going to be? At the moment, they're going to be nothing because we don't know how much money we're going to have left when we finish the building. Assuming we have money left, like we are hoping and we're planning, again, as we have to wait for the building to get purchased, the price of the building may change. All of these things get, we added the garage door, which wasn't in the original build. So things go up, things go down in cost. If we have the money, what we intend to do is take out the wall between Laura's office and the office that Rory and I share, and that would become the nursery. And we would make, we have a couple of different things we've talked about. We've talked about making the toddler's room, just taking out those walls, and that becomes part of our foyer, or leaving that as an additional kids classroom. the office that is right now Pam's office in the nursery would become just a classroom. It wouldn't be an office. And again, if we have money, we've talked about putting maybe 2 or 3 classrooms into here to create more children's classroom space. But again, it's all based on money, what we can do, and where we're at. We will have to add double doors over here. If you know where this door is at, by where David's desk used to be, we're going to have to add double doors there so that we can go back and forth to the new building. I would like to add double doors at the side doors. I don't know if we'll be able to do that or not. Just again, everything's we can do all of it. It's what can we afford, and we don't want to go into debt. Yes. Not inside. Exterior wise, our plan, Wally, is to put them on this property here. The school has given us verbal permission. We haven't gone through all of the processes, but the school has given us verbal permission to put basketball, volleyball, those kinds of things on their property, as long as we understand it's the school's property. And so we felt like the best use of our current property, because our actual most valuable resource is the size of our property, because it's small and narrow, to utilize that space for that. So right now the current plan is to put volleyball, outdoor volleyball, basketball, things like that on the property right next door to us. One more time. 3.25 acres is what the total of our property is. And if you go back to the site plan one more time, Justin, so where the back of the structure is actually, except the fire lane, that's the back of our property. So we're using, and the width where the parking spaces are to where you see the
5-foot easement from this wall,
yeah,
this wood,
like
we have to be 5 feet off of that where we can start our fire lane.
so we're using every square inch of our property for building and parking, and I would love to purchase it's not for sale at the moment. They would sell it, but they can't sell it directly to us. It has to go up, it'd be listed so anybody can buy it. Then they, have to take the best offer because they're stewarding, the ISD resources. And I understand that. And so I have had conversation with them. I've asked them if they do intend to sell it, to give us a running start at trying to get money so that we wouldn't lose out. I think long term they want to keep that property and maybe put parking there, which would help us, of course. They've given us permission to use the property. Obviously, we're parking there on Sunday mornings. We use it when we do our big events outside. They're not intending to sell it. And the reality is there are very few entities that could buy it, but the few entities that could buy it could be something that neither one of us want. Another religion's space could go there because of what it's zoned, and neither one of us want that. And so right now it's just going to stay ISD property. I think if we wanted to add parking over there, they would let us. Again, what do we have money for, kind of stuff. We do not have we do not, as of now, we don't have to have a retention or detention pond. Right behind us on that site plan is literally behind our property is a detention pond for the neighborhood. And it would be my intention if the city asked us to do something, to ask if we could just tie into that. Also along the east side of our property is a drainage ditch that so we can run our rainwater and water out of that. That's the intention. I am getting questions. Let me answer these real quick. Joanna Hildebrand wants to know where Justin's barbecue pit's going to be located. Justin, it will be located in that outdoor structure. I do expect you to be doing burnt ends every week. Sherry asked, are there classrooms in the new building? There's one classroom, Sherry, and then the idea is that we would add rooms in the current building with the space that we have. Debbie Sal asked me the question, what was the decision about the land? We just talked about that. I'm not sure if you heard it or not. They aren't going to give it away, and right now they're not planning to sell it. If they do plan to sell it, we have to get into a bidding war, potentially. Any other questions? Yes.
So the big garage door, is there a way to get into the building?
Yes. So on either side of the garage door are two main doors, double doors on both sides.
And then the classroom room, are those doors and windows? What is that?
On this side, there's doors and windows, both.
And then is this the wall facing the playground, is that solid?
That wall,
No.
That wall. That wall.
yes,
Yes.
that wall is a solid wall, but
Oh, I don't think that, I'm just curious.
yeah. But the idea, I mean, we could add windows there if we need to add windows there. That's not a problem to do.
It will be really dark with windows only on the, right there.
I mean, it might be, but one of the things that we thought about, Christy, was doing projectors for youth or things of that nature. If you put a lot of light in that room, it becomes we did think about that. It's not something that we ignored. We just realized that if we do,
Well, that was my big concern with that big building, is with that garage door with glass. Then when you're trying to watch Star Wars, it's like,
right, yeah, you'll still have to watch Star Wars in here, which this room's not going away, so we'll have this for that.
and then my other thought was with the bathrooms, if that they could be accessible during the day without disrupting the offices.
The single ones are certainly available at any point.
So like, but like if we're doing like after school stuff with the playground and stuff, being able to have
So the doors for the restrooms, Justin, are in this hallway.
I was just gonna say, I just wanted to make sure that's
I'm going to put Justice and the youth pastor in those two offices, and they will get the ones that get disrupted. We'll be fine. I don't think it'll be an issue.
because that would be for future, like how to use the building during the day.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions about the building or the site plan? Let me see if I'm getting anything online. Yes. A food pantry? We probably will not have just a straight food pantry. One, it's a lot of work, and I don't feel called to be a food pantry at this point. Also, there are a lot of ministries that we send people to. We have great partnerships with a couple of different ministries that are already doing that. I'm of the opinion the things that we're called to do, we need to do well. We don't need to be a jack of all trades, just the ones he's asked us to do. So right now, there's not a plan for that. Rory? Yeah, Waxahachie actually gives us a great model for something that we could consider doing in the future, where they have a mobile food pantry, and I think they actually use Tarrant County food pantry, even though they're not in Tarrant County, they're in Ellis County, where Tarrant County comes in with a semi-truck, drops off whatever it was that you ordered, so 200, 300 food packages, whatever that is, and then the people can come through and just pick up those food packages. And the ministry that they've set up, while they're not a physical food pantry, they get the benefits of being a food pantry in the community. Any other questions? Yeah, Trevor.
Is the kitchen gonna just be open?
No, good question. That is a half wall with another roll-up window. So the intention is to be able to, so when we do Graceful Thanksgiving right now, we put a bunch of 8-foot tables at the back, and we have people stand behind their serving. That would now take place from the kitchen instead of having to set up tables, but the window can just roll down. A pantry for the kitchen. Justin asked what that space was next to the kitchen, but between that and the hallway, it's a pantry for the kitchen storage. We have in the top, go right above that, Justin, and over just a little bit. That's our mop washout closet as well as washer and dryer. We're trying to have a full washer and dryer in this building, whereas in the last building we just had a stackable washer and dryer. Yes, that's a storage. So this office here will be my office as well as if we have to have a conference room, my office will also serve as that. There is a closet off of my office, and then on the other side is also storage. We didn't add a lot of storage. Our intention is to keep one or two of the containers that come onto the property for building and use those for storage. The idea would be hopefully to put them at the back of the building, behind the building. We had talked about that. It's not in these designs. We're still working on all of that, but the idea is to keep one or two of those storage units and use them for our storage. Any other questions about the building? I don't want to limit anybody. Okay, so the next steps, we're waiting on the city for approval. As soon as they give us the approval, we're going to order it, and then you'll start seeing ground move and all of those things. Is there another slide, or is that all? Byron. Any other questions?
Michelle keeps blowing up my phone and wants to know why the window to the exterior from the kitchen got removed. Sorry.
The window from the, okay. That's a loaded question, Michelle. Go back to the, so we originally had, Justin, if you go to the garage door, go up to the left just a little bit, right there. We originally had a garage door type window going outside from the kitchen into there. And Laura actually really didn't want it. And because she works in the kitchen a lot, we wanted to honor that. And she felt like it would be used maybe once or twice a year. And the amount of use would lead towards extra heat in the kitchen because it's an exterior door or window, roll-up window. Whether or not that's an accurate assessment or not, it's hard to know. But she was she really didn't feel like we needed it, and I want to honor that. And so that's the reason why, Michelle. If you want to have a conversation with Laura, you can have a conversation with Laura.
I did my job.
Yeah. Okay, if there's no other questions about the building, the last two things, one of them is what the youth have been waiting for. One is the jeans. If you haven't got jeans yet and you would like to get jeans, please go do that. For the family online that's with us, we intend to have them available Sunday, whatever's left. We do have availability time tomorrow from 3 to 5 tomorrow, 8 to 10 Friday morning, and then Saturday from 10 to 2. So if you're interested and you need to come up, we have Dockers and jeans, primarily men's, just so you're aware. Ladies, sorry, and we don't have kids either. It's just primarily men's pants. And then the kids want to know about the missions trip. I am going to do a parents meeting next Wednesday after church. I will be doing my first youth service in 10 years this coming a week from today. I actually have the message prepared, and please bring your kid to youth on Wednesday. I actually am, it's a message to start, and they need to be there. So if I could beg you, plead with you, implore you, please have your student at youth next Wednesday. Immediately following, we'll have a quick mission trip meeting, but we're going to Mexico this year. We will be going with the Godwins, so we'll fly to San Diego and then go south of the border there. The cost of the missions trip, including camp, is $1,400. That's obviously much more than what we've spent in the past, but you're leaving the country, you're flying somewhere that does cost money. I would tell you, if you're even thinking about going, go get your passport, because it takes 3 months to get it in, and you're going to want to get that. Yeah, Ben. June 23rd through the 30th. Camp is July 18th through the 21st. All right, I'm going to pray. If anybody wants to ask me questions online or in-house, you're welcome to do that. Joanna asked a good question. Are we going to show some love to our neighbors who will have to endure the construction? You can bake them cookies, Joanna. No. I don't know how much disruption it will be, as we'll be building during the day. It's not going to be at night. The back of our building, there won't be a bunch of stuff facing them. All of the activity will be facing the school as far as when the building's completed. And I don't even know that we're gonna have to put lights back there, because maybe some building lights going straight down for the drive, but, I ultimately, Joanna, it's something to think about, and I don't want to ignore your question. It's just a matter of how can we love them and let them know. What are we going to do for all the security of which stuff? The building materials. The construction company is going to cover it, and that's probably why we have to spend $7,000 on insurance.
We're gonna utilize the school's property for some of that stuff, rent a fence we're gonna have,
We probably need to have that conversation quickly with them so they're aware. Yeah. I haven't thought about that, but we do need to probably have that conversation with them. Just ask them. The hope is that we could put that on the school property, like they did for their building project. Okay, let me pray for you. I will answer any other questions that you have, but for those who want to go, Lord, thank you for the resources to build a building debt-free. I just want that to be able to sink in for a second. Lord, you gave us $2 million to be able to build a building. We didn't have to go through a building campaign. We don't have to take out a loan. Lord, what an incredible honor, blessing, resource that is. I give you great praise. Lord, help us to continue to be good stewards. Help us to get great deals when we're buying building supplies, and give us favor with the city. Help David and the team to be able to not just get good deals, but to get the best deals, for things to get done quicker than he anticipates.